We're not imprisoned by the loops they're imprisoned by. We can make a free will choice. Their loops prevent them from making many free will choices that we can make. Hi, welcome to the channel. I talk about narcissistic patterns that I've come into contact with in the hopes that it'll help others. Now, as I've just said, I tend to talk about narcissism a lot. And I think that's important and needs to be done. That being said, it also needs to be stated that our talking about narcissists with a view to protecting ourselves, looking after each other by understanding the patterns and how to recognize the manipulation and all the rest of it, that cannot be an excuse for us not to turn inwards and with the same level of scrutiny observe and humbly acknowledge all the aspects of ourselves that perhaps need some working on. Because if all we do is externalize, then are we not doing as the narcissists do? I say give credit where credit's due. And if a whole lot of mess in your life was caused by a narcissist, I'm not telling you not to put that where it belongs. But that being said, we can all turn that keen eye back on ourselves as well. Not for blame, not for recrimination, although that will probably happen during the process. You will feel guilty that you weren't able to protect yourself. You will feel embarrassed for yourself or ashamed. You will feel angry at yourself. You might feel all kinds of emotions. That's part of the process. But don't let it stop you. Because if you can get through that, then you can get down to the work of looking at the truth unemotionally. Not denying what happened, not saying that it didn't hurt when it did, but being able to see things with clarity. And emotion, energy in motion, can cloud that clarity. So, this work is not for the faint of heart. But we are not faint of heart. If you've managed to escape narcissistic abuse, if you've managed to get away from someone who is hurting and manipulating you, I do not consider you faint of heart. I consider you more than capable of doing the work, the inner work, and it's ongoing. It's ongoing. But let us do it, let us commence. Let us look inwards with as much scrutiny as we look outwards. Let us not be judgmental on ourselves, but let us be discerning. Take responsibility where it belongs to us. Because I've said in my recent video, the way the narcissists operate is a helpful clue to us to do the exact opposite. So I'm kind of touching on that again here. Don't they refuse accountability? Don't they justify and say that they were in the right? And you're like, come on, just give me this, you are wrong. And they'll just dig their heels in. Or they'll say, fine, you're right. They'll never give it to you freely. They'll never acknowledge the truth. They're not interested in truth, as I've also recently said. So this is where we learn what not to do. This is where we say, you know, as much as I'm capable, I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard. It's not easy, may not happen overnight, can't quickly undo the programming of a lifetime, and that's fair enough. I really think the key is willingness. You know, can you say to yourself, I don't feel really strong right now, I don't feel super capable, I'm hurt, and maybe I need some time, but I am willing. I am willing. That's something the narcissists won't do. They're not willing to introspect. There's so many things they're not willing to do, and that's why they withhold. But we can, right? Slowly, softly, gently. I'm willing to turn my keen eye inwards. I'm willing, gradually, in the pursuit of truth, in the pursuit of clarity, in the pursuit of my own character building and maturation as a person of self-respect. In this life, I am willing to look at myself and see where I was vulnerable, not because it was my fault, although if it was, can I admit that? Can I acknowledge that? Can I be okay with that? Can I still love myself in spite of that? And use it as a useful lesson. These are the opportunities you have. These things are worth doing. In this way, you go in the opposite direction to the narcissist, as I said, who will only externalize and put blame outside themselves. We don't have to do that. We're not imprisoned by the loops they're imprisoned by. We can make a free will choice. Their loops prevent them from making many free will choices that we can make. We can choose to introspect. Because to me, it's a positive thing. It's a beautiful thing. When I think, you know, there's more of me. There's more of me to discover. There's more of me to see and be. And if I can let go of those things that I've been clinging to, that have made me vulnerable in my life, not intentionally, but in ways that I was not conscious of, if I can become conscious of them through my experience, especially with the narcissist, but everything else too, if I can use that as a catalyst to see myself more truly, why not? Let me do that. Let me become more of myself. Let me let go of those things that made me vulnerable to their wily schemes and their manipulations. Because the more whole we are, the more that everything that they do will slide off us like water off a duck's back. I've said it before, we can't control them. It's not our job to control them or to change them. Our work is to become immune to them, so that none of their manipulations are convincing to our ears. None of their glamour impresses our eyes. We're smooth and whole and complete and stable, so none of their hooks can be driven in, and catch hold. much as we look at them and see their failings, let us look at ourselves with an aim to become more whole, more safe. Because is it not an act of self-love to make yourself immune to what might harm you and hurt you? To make yourself more aware of what might harm and hurt other people? So that you can no longer contribute to that at all? How would that be? I think it would be marvelous. That's my thought for today. Let me know if you have some thoughts down in the comments. Like, share and subscribe. Till next time.